to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Dating in 2026. This episode is about dating. If you're single and looking for love, this episode is worth your time because you're getting advice, free advice, from a 49-year-old healed Capricorn. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Healed Capricorn women are elite when it comes to relationship advice. We've lived through the drama. We've learned the lessons the hard way. We've survived our own bad decisions. And we came out on the other side wiser, calmer, and very clear about what we will and will not tolerate. Capricorn women tend to get what they want because they know the number one rule of life. Don't settle. This is highly applicable to dating. It's applicable to every aspect of your life, but it's highly applicable to dating. Don't settle. Now, before I get started, I try to stay in my lane and I only talk about things I have personal experience with. So today, I'm speaking from a heterosexual dating perspective. That doesn't mean others won't benefit from this, but if you're dating men, you're probably going to feel very seen. And men, you need to pay attention to this too. There's a lot to learn here. The dating world can be a cruel, confusing, ego-bruising place, which is exactly why you must take control of your dating life. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. Now, here are some ground rules to play by. I'm old school when it comes to dating, especially in the beginning. What inspired me to talk about this was an Instagram post that I saw yesterday, and it said, "Girls, remember, whatever a man does for you at the beginning of a relationship, that's the maximum." And I was like, no, as the relationship grows, he should do more and more. And so should she. If you go on a first date with a guy and you end up marrying him, buying a home together, having kids together, and you realize that he peaked on that first date, you did not choose your partner wisely. Now, here's the deal. Relationships should be easy in the beginning. That's not when that man should max out. It's during the hard times and the challenges that he needs to step up. So let's talk about that first date for just a moment. In the early stages, particularly the first date, the woman has got to get the upper hand. Now, let me be clear. This applies only when you believe this man could be the one. If you're out for a good time and not a long time, these rules don't apply. Sometimes you need to have a good time in order to figure out who you are and what you don't want. Figuring out what you don't want leads to figuring out what you do want. So there's power in that good time. Now, when you figure out what you do want, you're probably ready for the long time. I like to call it the big show, okay? But if you want to be taken seriously, if you want his attention, if you want him to value you, you have to play your cards right. Because most men will do exactly what you allow them to get away with. They can spot a woman who's a pushover. Don't think they can't. I have never known of one man who was intrigued by a pushover. Not for the long term, anyway. And ladies, you got to teach that man how to treat you without being a demanding nag. Now, this can get tricky. So first date, your behavior is critical. Don't meet him anywhere on the first date. Do not drive to meet that man. If you feel safe enough to sit across from him at a dinner table, you should feel safe enough to ride in a car with him. Let him pick you up. See if he'll put forth the effort to do that. Suppose he won't. Don't go out on a date with him. And if you don't feel safe enough to let him pick you up, then rethink the date, okay? Don't make it easy for that man in the beginning. It will backfire later. Allow him to pursue you and see if he'll meet your terms. Men want to pursue you. They want to chase you. He should also pay for dinner. A man wants to pay, a boy wants to split the damn bill. And let me answer this question for you right now. You want a man, you do not want a boy, and definitely not a mama's boy. If his mother is interfering in your relationship by date 2, you're dating a mama's boy. Full stop. I dated 2 men who lived with their mothers, and these men were grown-ass men, okay? Neither one of them had plans for me. Hell, they didn't have any plans for themselves. A man who has a plan for you is established and ready to start a life with you. Ask yourself that question. Is he established? That's something to pay attention to if you're looking at him as a potential lifelong partner. Now, if he's young, he he probably won't live in a mansion, but does he have his own place? Does he have his own car? Is he established in his job or his career? Or is he close to being established in his job or his career? Is he working towards something better or moving up the hierarchy? If he isn't, he might be playing with you. Pay attention. Here's a fact about the male species. They love a challenge. Men love challenges. Why do you think they love sports? If a man isn't challenged, he loses interest. That means don't you blow up his phone. Let him contact you. If he doesn't contact you daily, he's not that interested in you. There's no exceptions. When a man is into you, he wants to know where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing, and he wants to see you. If you don't hear from him consistently, reevaluate. Where do you really stand with him? Do some digging. Make sure he's not seeing someone else. Where is he when you aren't hearing from him? Don't be naive. And if you have a gut feeling about something, don't ignore that. Ask him on the first date whether he's dating anyone else. The first date is critical. Don't let opportunities for questioning to pass you by, but be cool about it. Like, don't interrogate. Just casually find impeccable timing for some questions. And if you think he might be the big show, not just an appetizer, do not give him more than a kiss. I'm telling you. Drive him crazy, make him earn it. Play a little hard to get, but not too hard to get, because see, men process information differently than women. If you play too hard to get, he'll assume you're not interested in bail, and you could risk becoming too demanding in his eyes too, and you don't want that. You know, demanding isn't attractive, respect is. And remember, sense of humor goes a long way with men, so if you're funny, he's going to be more attracted to you right off the bat. So the first month of dating lays the foundation for everything that follows. Men are actually easy to read. They're either into you or they're not. And if he's not into you, you don't hear from him daily. You don't really know what he does day to day. The relationship feels superficial and maybe a little empty. You don't really get what you want out of the relationship, and you're too afraid to tell him that. And he doesn't ask questions about you. And your nervous system might become dysregulated when you're around him. If you can't be yourself around a man, he's not for you. Listen, that's a huge, huge sign, huge red flag. Do you feel comfortable around him? Do you feel comfortable being yourself around this man? If the answer is no, you stop seeing that guy. When a man is into you, he wants to make your life better. This is the thing you need to know about men. He wants to make your life better, not because you can't handle it, but because he's a man. It's part of his constitution. A man wants to take care of you. He doesn't want to see you struggle. Ladies, if you're with someone who makes your life harder versus easier, rethink your relationship. These rules haven't changed. They applied hundreds of years ago, and they apply now. Men used to have to walk, physically walk, to a woman's house to ask her out when there were no phones. No excuse in this day and time. Don't let him by with some bullshit. Okay? Men give, women receive. Masculine and feminine energy have always been the same. If you have to mother a man, you're with a boy. Now, later in the relationship, once he's proven himself, then give him things. But in the beginning, it's a test. And trust me, he's testing you too. Do you demand respect? Or are you a pushover? Are you cool? Or are you demanding? Do you only have eyes for him? Or do you flirt with his friends? Okay, he's watching. Now, if you're dealing with somebody, okay, let's say he pulls up and honks the horn and you run outside, oh, forget it. He'll never take you seriously. I did that one time, and I did it because I didn't really care either. But it was a mistake because that let him know that I didn't value myself. And I didn't value myself that much at that time. I was much younger, but I was old enough to know better and should have done better. Actions speak louder than words. That's why you got to pay more attention to behaviors than to words, especially in the beginning. All right, so next I want to move on to dating apps. I'm not anti-dating app like at all. Plenty of people meet online and build great relationships. I know some couples personally who met online and have great relationships overall. I think that dating apps are probably a better option than meeting someone at a bar, especially if you're a binge drinker. That's a whole other mess of blues. But if the dating apps aren't working, stop. You'll never get a different or better result doing the same thing over and over. I know a lot of people who go from one dating app to the next, and although every experience is a disaster, they throw all of their eggs into that basket. It becomes another smartphone addiction, really. So instead of dating apps, try this. Decide what you want in a lifelong partner. Make a list. And I'm not just talking about physical traits. Go deep. Think about values, lifestyle, money mindset, goals, what kind of house you want to live in, what you want to do with this person. Then I want you to take an honest look at yourself and see if you also have the same traits that you want in a partner. You see, in order to attract a high quality person, you have to be a high quality person. So, no double standards here. To get a great man for the long term, you have to be a great woman. So, if you figure out that you have some inner work to do it, and then reopen the door to meeting someone. And think about things like this. Do you want kids? Do you want to work or do you want to stay home? Is money important to you? Do you care about having money? Because if you care about money, you cannot date someone who doesn't, much less marry him. You'll be turned off, he'll be turned off, and the relationship won't work. So think through all of these things if you're at that point in your life when you're ready for the long term. And so once you get this figured out, take it further. Build a vision board. Dedicate the board to the life you intend to build with a lifelong partner. And I want you to place that board beside of your bed so you see it when you wake up and you see it before you go to sleep. And if you have someone over and you don't want them to see it, just tuck it away under your bed or something, temporarily. That's totally left up to you. So bottom line, whatever you want is what you should get and nothing less. Not what your parents want, not what your friends want, what you want. The number one mistake women make is settling early in their lives. If you settle, you'll never get what you actually want. You settle one time and it ignites a lifelong pattern. Don't do it. Make sure your actions align with what you want. If they don't, you're steering the universe in the wrong direction. For instance, if you want a partner who's highly educated, you can't date someone who dropped out of high school and never went any further. When you do things like that, you stall the relationship that's meant for you. The next topic is red flags. You got to stop ignoring red flags. Pay attention to how someone talks about their past relationships and their friendships. Do they take responsibility, or are they always the victim? Every story they tell, did the relationship end because it was the other person's fault? People who paint themselves as victims are liars. Liars are dangerous people to be with. Don't settle down with a liar. Other red flags. They drank heavily and you don't. On the first date, they get hammered and you're sober. It's a red flag. Another red flag. You can't find them online. Okay, it's 2026. If you can't find a trace of someone online, why is that? Ask questions. This is your life. If you don't have, mutual friends or acquaintances that you can ask about this person, look them up online, okay? Next thing, you're never alone together. This is something people tend to overlook. When you're with this person you're dating, are you with a group of people each time you're together? Are you ever alone with this person? I dated a guy once who always wanted his friends around. We were never alone. It was always a big, group dinner or something like that. And I later found out there was a reason for that. He had multiple women, and when he was seen out with me, then and if one of the other women heard about it, he could just say, "Well, she was, she was with the group." Pay attention to things like that, especially if it's ongoing. Another thing, their appearance online doesn't match real life. Don't start the relationship with a lie. Trust is the number one key to any sustainable relationship. If your pictures online and your videos online look nothing like you, be prepared for trouble when they meet you in person. Misleading someone about what you look like is never okay. And another thing, reputation. If you go out with a girl and you know she's been married 4 or 5 times, don't let your ego fool you into thinking that she's an innocent victim that you can save and change, because let me tell you something right now, she's the opposite of that. Same goes for men. Ladies, beware of anyone who's been married multiple times. Something is wrong. When a person has been married 4, 5, 6 times, they don't take marriage seriously. Marriage should be taken very seriously, and you don't have to get married. That's the thing. So, look at the first date as what it really is. It's a job interview. Everyone's wearing a mask, and your job is to figure out what's underneath that mask. Look them up, ask questions, do your research. Don't waste time on people who don't match your vision. And I strongly urge you not to wear that mask on the first date. And I know that's hard. But by the time I met Will, the man I ended up marrying, I was so done with the mask. I never wore it in front of him. Either someone loves you for who you are authentically, or they can't handle who you really are. You need to let them know who you are right off the bat. No one's perfect, but they might be perfect for you and you might be perfect for them. So let them see you. The sooner the better. Your flaws and those weird little things you do make you more interesting. I promise. No Stepford wife bullshit. It doesn't work. So I'll close with the best advice that I can give you. Spend time alone. Be alone until you are fully self-reliant, emotionally, financially, and mentally. You're not ready for a serious relationship. That goes for men and women. Live alone, date around, learn yourself. have a good time. Give yourself permission to have a good time. Life gets really serious when you get married or, when you combine your life with another person. Life isn't as serious when you're single, so enjoy being single until you're ready not to be. Your brain isn't even fully developed until around 25. And keep in mind that the male brain matures more slowly. Although their brains are usually fully developed by 25, it takes longer for their prefrontal cortex to mature. And that's the part of the brain that's responsible for planning, judgment, and impulse control. Why do you think so many men jump the gun and propose marriage when they're teenagers? It's ridiculous. Don't do that. You're not the same person at 25 that you'll be later, and neither is your partner. Once you know who you are and what you want, let God know you're ready. And when I say that, you might be thinking, well, how do I communicate all this to God? Here's how you do it. Tell God what your intentions are, and then start thinking about what you want and work each day to become that yourself. Stay open to how that person comes into your life, because the people you meet along the way might introduce you to the big show. They really do come along when you least expect them. So don't exhaust your energy looking. Focus on receiving your perfect person, okay? So I think this is a good place to stop, and I'll close with saying thank you for being here with me again. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I'll see you next week.
The Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope.